Hello, friends, and welcome to your Daily Detroit. We are with you on this Monday, February 27th, 2023. I am Jer Stays, and across the table from me is
Shianne Serini.
It's good to see you. I feel like it was just, a few days ago.
That's because it was, Jer.
I want to get this started with the acknowledgement and hope that this week is so much better than the last couple weeks. I'm going to look very positive.
I will say one thing about last week. At least we didn't wait like 3 hours in line for punchkis.
You know what? We didn't even really talk about the punchkis last week.
We did not.
But that is a huge improvement. How long did you wait this time? You did what? You changed up your plan.
I did change up my plan this year. This year, I walked into Apple Fritter Store. There were 3 people in front of me.
One of Eminem's favorites,
yes.
Apparently.
And I walked up, got my punchkis, and I walked out the door. And when I left, there was a small line outside. Maybe 6 people.
It was a lighter punchki.
It was, yes.
Than previous years.
Yes.
Which I wasn't mad about.
I've had Apple Fritter Store punchki before.
By the way, I feel like we have a challenge ahead of us.
I feel like we do too, Jer.
We have something that we're going to do that we have to blame Fletcher Sharp for. He said, we'll do any sort of things that people challenge us to do. Unfortunately, the first challenge that came in was not directed at him. Though I'm sure someone out there, listeners, and of course, if you're going to challenge us in the future, please support us at buymeacoffee.com/dailydetroit because we're going to go through pain or whatever we need for you. Because a listener named Nate, no last name, challenged us, Shianne.
Oh, no.
What I have here in front of me is a bottle. Very spring. We're coming up on it, right?
Right. It is the beginning of Lent.
This is Peeps Pespi.
Oh, what?
There you go. Do you see that?
I do see the bright yellow thing.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Oh.
We're going to give this a shot.
Okay.
What do you expect out of Peeps Pespi before we get into this?
I expect something incredibly sweet.
Okay.
And I'm smelling it now. And I smell a hint of caramelized marshmallow. Maybe. It almost smells like alcohol, but
I could see that.
Yeah.
So everybody here in the studio today, we've provided some Peeps Pespi.
Right.
And I'm wondering how this is going to be.
How do you think it's going to be?
I feel like the number of times I have melted Peeps and put them into desserts. Like, have you ever made a s'more out of a Peep?
No, because I generally just microwave them and then I eat them.
Yeah, so I've made a s'more out of a Peep before.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of just like smush them like a car smasher.
Right.
Just be like, oh no. I mean, I don't really even eat Peeps much anymore. But we're going to give this a shot.
Okay.
All right, are we ready in the studio?
I'm ready as I'll ever be, Jer. Mm-mm. I was correct in that it's very sweet.
It's like not even, it's weird.
I get like a hint, a very small hint of Pepsi.
Oh no, here's the extra bite afterward, like in your mouth.
Yeah, it's cloyingly sweet.
May as well have drinking syrup.
Yeah.
So in the background there, in case you heard that, works on our newsletter and various other things, Luciano Marcone. Sir, what did it taste like to you, sir?
This tastes about as expected as if a little kid put Peeps in the microwave and drank it. It's about what you expect. It doesn't taste great, but like you get your little sugar rush, and I don't know, it was okay to try. I don't know if I'd have it again.
I mean, at 138% of my sugar for the day in one bottle.
I already feel my blood sugar going up. I need to go sit down.
Yes, like I said, I just took a couple sips and it's very, very sweet.
Yeah, we took one bottle, poured it out into glasses.
Yeah. Jer, how much did Peeps pay them for that?
Or did it go the other way around? Did somebody at Pepsi go, this is a great idea. Let's shove more sugar onto the sugar.
And make it sugar.
Nate, you're a jerk. dailydetroit@gmail.com if you want to be a jerk to us as well. Or have us try something nice. I don't know.
Okay, we got to get back on track, man. That sugar has gone straight to my brain.
We do, and on track means we're going to talk about Baobob Fare on Chopped, which is super exciting.
They're doing so many great things over there, and every time I hear something new from them, I get even more excited.
Yeah, it's the guy with it, Hamisi.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, at least that's what it seems like according to the Instagram pictures. But it's going to be on February 28th 8th at 8 p.m. the episode airs. What are your feelings on Chopped? I'm excited because I love to see whenever anyone local from Metro Detroit does well, because these TV appearances, it may seem silly, and whether you like Chopped or not, it raises your profile so much.
It does. It's been a while since I watched Chopped, but I used to watch Chopped all the time, like every night. And I loved it. I don't know why I stopped watching it. Maybe it's because I have 2 children. I don't know. Anyway, I'm super stoked because, like you said, it gets their name out there and it brings more eyes from around the country to not only their restaurant, but to the city of Detroit.
Oh, and I really believe that Baobab deserves all of that praise.
They do.
They are a standout restaurant that, do you remember the Hatch Detroit contest? If you think about like projects that sometimes don't get as much attention as they should, Hatch Detroit has really started some amazing things.
They have.
This is one of them. And remember when we were at the event where they actually won?
Yeah, I remember that. First of all, I remember when they were announced as semifinalists and I actually got to speak to them and try their food, and they were wonderful. And I got to hear their story. They're refugees and they just wanted to start something new and they wanted to start this restaurant. And then when they went up for their finalist speech and the questions and answers that they gave on that panel, they basically said, hey, look, this is the first time trying to raise money for our restaurant. I don't have all of the numbers ready for you yet, but I will get them. And I'm going to continue fundraising and trying to get this together. And they won. I feel like it was an inspirational story. And it was something that, it did take quite a few years for them to get this restaurant open. But now that they've opened.
I mean, it's a great space inside. They're getting all kinds of good reviews. Let's talk about Chopped in general. Like, if people aren't familiar with the concept, basically, they can throw curveballs at you. It's like these mystery baskets of ingredients. And I think this might play well into his skill abilities here.
I feel like it will. And it's 3 courses. And then it obviously, like, each course you get eliminated till there's like only 2 people who are competing in the dessert course. And so I think it'll be really interesting to see how his flavor profiles will fit with the mystery ingredients. So I'm super excited, and I will make sure that I record that episode so I won't miss it.
I'm going to be watching it 100%.
I will try and watch it live so that way they can get the rating.
Is this something that we're going to have to live tweet?
Okay, maybe not live tweet because who's reading our live tweets anymore? But what if we did some sort of live virtual event?
Maybe. dailydetroit@gmail.com if that's something that you're interested in.
Yes.
Now, there is another cookie place opening up in Metro Detroit. It's called Great American Cookies. I feel like every time I say that, there should be the movie Eagle Scream, which, by the way, is actually a red-tailed hawk.
I know.
Like, ah!
Yeah.
So every time that I say Great American Cookies, that there's a little bit of a sound effect with it because I feel very patriotic.
I see like a big unfurled like American flag behind it, just like
the
waving in
Colbert
the breeze.
Show.
Yeah, that's what or Great American Warrior. I don't know.
I've never tried this place.
Me either.
Now, this is going to be out in Novi at 12 Oaks Mall. Going to be open 7 days a week. I wanted to make a mention because it seems like there's so many cookie places opening up, not just Great American Cookies, but everywhere. Like, this seems to be the fad. So let's talk about what makes a great American cookie or any cookie.
I like all kinds of cookies. One of my favorite cookies is actually the Detroit Cookie Company.
Really?
Cookies. Yeah, they have, all different kinds of flavors. Maybe it's a sentimental thing just from like being in the hospital with my baby, and my cousin like brought us a dozen cookies from there. And so maybe that's like, I have like a warm like feeling spot.
Now, do they execute them well? Because like I've tried a number of chains recently, and I will be honest, I have not been and I've not tried Detroit Cookie Company, but I've been kind of like, yeah, this is expensive for what I'm getting.
This is a cookie. And it's not,
And it's not, if it's executed perfectly, I'm down.
I think Detroit Cookie Company does execute pretty well. And it's not like a big chain, right? Like it's a local, like I think they have 2 locations. They might be opening a 3rd, I'm not sure. And they're not like the giant cookies, right? Like these are like a good sized cookie. I liked that there's different flavor combinations and everything. And I don't know, my oldest is like really on this crumble kick, and we've only been once because who's spending that much money on 4 cookies? Not this girl.
So is that another chain?
It is another chain.
I thought maybe that was a flavor. So that's another chain.
Another chain is called Crumble.
But no red tail hawk sounds.
No red tail hawk sounds.
Not like Great American Cookies.
Right. They're starting to expand like all across Metro Detroit. And there's one up on like 13 in Woodward over in the Beaumont area.
What does he specifically like about them?
I think
or the family in general?
I think he likes them because they're just trendy and maybe I don't know. They're all right. They're very sweet.
That's another thing I would add. I think a good cookie isn't just sweet.
Yeah.
So like my favorite is the Avalon chocolate sea salt.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Anything along those lines. One of my favorites is the Anzac cookie made with golden syrup.
Oh, yeah.
Which is actually more of like a British, New Zealand, Australian kind of thing. But very good. But that's not an overly sweet cookie. I like something that has some balance to it.
Right. I like cookies that have like different depths of flavor and that aren't cloyingly sweet.
So like I tried one that actually had a thing where they recommended that you dip the cookie in cake batter.
What?
Yeah. Like it was like a dipper that came with it.
I feel like that's just too much. But I don't know. I guess if you're in 12 Oaks, you can always go and check out this new cookie place.
And I haven't tried them, so I don't know.
I have no idea. But I do want to say that they claim that they're the first one that made the cookie cake. And I feel like maybe there's like a cookie war between them and Mrs. Fields because who really made the cookie cake?
Who really did?
Who really made
Who shot JFK? Who made the cookie cake?
Who shot JR?
That's right. Who shot JR? That's right. That's right.
We know who shot JFK.
I hear there's something happening at one of your favorite local chains, Shianne.
There is. I know a couple weeks ago we were talking about Olga's, and I got more Olga's news.
Is this a whole beat for you now?
I guess so. I love Olga's. So
what is it about it? Let's talk about, because we didn't really get into it.
We didn't really get into it. So I think my thing with Olga's is that it reminds me of my childhood. My dad and my stepmom used to take me to Olga's whenever I lived in Denver. My dad lived here. So I would come and spend my summers here with my dad. And we would always go to the Olga's at either Eastland Mall or Macomb Mall. And I would always get the orange cooler thing and whatever usually was like the 3 cheese Olga. But I don't know. It's such a core memory for me that I love Olga's. And I will always love Olga's.
What about the items?
I still love the 3 cheese Olga. It's right there on my top list. But sides, the broccoli soup, and then also the zucchini fries. I love them. And of course, Snackers.
We don't talk about them as much nowadays, right?
No, we don't. But there's some news.
Tell me.
They are bringing back the Angus steak burger.
Okay.
And McClure's is doing the pickles.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I feel like people go one of two ways with McClure's. They're either not fans of it because they're about the traditional, I don't want to say traditional pickle. I would say the pickle, the store-bought pickle they know.
Right.
Because in a lot of ways, McClure's is more of that homespun pickle, right? With different flavorings and different ways of treating it. Is it just the steak burger? Is there more?
There is also a shrimp po' boy.
I feel like this is timed for a certain group.
I have that feeling as well because we are officially in Lent season.
Okay.
So I know you can't partake in it because of your shellfish allergy.
And I'm also not Catholic, so there's that.
But still, like even if you weren't Catholic, and you weren't allergic to shrimp, you could probably have a shrimp po' boy.
That's true. That's true.
I'm just saying.
Well, now you know. If you're a fan of McClure's Pickles, go check it out. I'd love to hear from listeners. If anyone else is an Olga's fan, if they've got thoughts or favorites, dailydetroit@gmail.com. Out now are the top 25 bars in Michigan for liquor sales in 2022. And there's some familiar names in here. And I always like to talk about this every year because it gives you a light or a focus on the places where people do the most drinking.
Right.
Right. Where they're spending the most. There are going to be some that surprise you, some that obviously make perfect sense.
Yeah.
The one at the top makes perfect sense to me, Little Caesars Arena, and that's just because of sheer volume.
Right.
I'm not expecting the fanciest cocktails out of there.
No.
But that's just a sheer volume play, right? Between Pistons, Red Wings, concerts, da-da-da-da-da.
Yep.
But number two, floods.
I don't know why I'm laughing. I shouldn't be surprised.
Right? We've both been. You've been.
I've been. You've been. We've been together.
I shouldn't be surprised, but for some reason, being number 2 to Little Caesars Arena
Yeah.
and above what they call it Michigan Avenue Bistro. That's the Pantheon in Dearborn. That's the new company for that. Right? So
Yeah.
Floods is above the big strip club.
Right.
I mean, good on Floods.
Yeah.
They're a Detroit institution.
They are.
Man, step up for that.
This makes me wonder, like, how big is the gap between...
I don't have those numbers, but I'd be
I know,
interested to see.
I know. Like, really, that's kind of what I'm wondering because, like, further down the list...
Well, but down the list gets interesting.
Yeah.
So you got Duo Restaurant Lounge in Southfield. So there's Adam Street Ventures in at number 5.
Yeah.
Which there are a number of businesses. There's like 350 Terrace. There is Love and Tequila. I think Love and Tequila is near Grand Circus Park. Again, this is
Yeah.
all by the ballpark. Brass Rail with the
yeah.
pizza joint, which, you know, these are places that people don't generally go to unless they're going to a game. Now, 350 Terrace is another experience in itself.
Yeah.
But like it's in that like stadium district right there.
Right.
Market North End in Birmingham. You got 220 Merrill
Right.
in Birmingham. And, you know, I recently stopped by 220. We're going to actually have an interview with their chef on the show soon.
Oh, nice.
And the thing about 220 is that although it's a sizable restaurant, to think that it's like the 7th largest seller, I mean, in some ways that's got to be because of the higher tickets.
Probably.
Because it's a very swank place.
Right.
Then there's a Slice Pizzeria and all that. Sidecar Slider Bar, which I have not been to in Birmingham, but apparently they're opening up a spot in Grosse Pointe as well. So that really makes me wonder if that kind of spot, like Shift Cocktail Bar and Sidecar Slider Bar in Birmingham, is opening in Grosse Pointe. What is that going to look like in Grosse Pointe Village? 'Cause
Right.
that Birmingham spot is the 8th largest seller. That's big, right? The Shenandoah Golf and Country Club, which I went to a Chaldean Chamber of Commerce meeting there once. A couple times, actually.
I was looking at the list going, who's going to...
I am. I'm going. I've been there, Shianne.
Shenandoah Golf Club. And then I just asked you and you were like, actually, I have been there, which I thought was funny. And then number 10, Comerica Park.
So if you think about this, all those spaces sold more liquor. Now, I feel like, to be fair to Comerica Park, your baseball audience, your Springsteen concert audience, they're going to be beer people.
Yeah, I kind of agree. And then 11 is Tin Roof, which is, once again, right across the street from Comerica Park.
And then Uptown Grill in Walled Lake. I'll need a listener to fill me in on that one.
I've never been there before. Number 13, Three Sods.
That's the starters.
Yes.
That's the number of starters that are around town.
Okay.
Metro Detroit. They're actually quite like a mini empire.
They are.
I got to see some of those folks when I was over at CreatorCon. There is so much, like, nobody ever talks about starters in the media. Like, they will occasionally for good works, but like, they are like an engine of food. Like,
Mhm.
so many customers, so many people like starters.
Yeah.
And it's a real thing. It just doesn't get any coverage in like the food press or
Right.
whatever. After that, you got Del Mar Kitchen and Bar. So Greektown.
Yep. Number 15, Stand by Detroit and the Skip, which, I mean, both of us have been there.
Oh, yeah. I see why. I see.
Yeah.
And I think we'll end this, although there's more. I think we kind of ended at Ford Field because,
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, you know, Ford Field's a huge venue. But again, I think that's a beer venue.
I think it is too.
Like, there aren't going to be that many cocktails when you're watching the Lions game. Like, that just doesn't.
No.
I mean, they're there, right?
Right.
I've been to Lions games. I've been to the suites in Lions games. Like,
Yeah.
they're there, but this is a beer crowd. Shianne, somehow after that Peeps Pepsi, we've made it through this episode. I feel this weird, extreme caffeine sugar buzz right now. I think I'm literally vibrating.
I feel the same way. Like my brain is just so yeah. So I think
It's time to go.
it is time to go.
Well, thank you so much for listening to this rather slapdash but fun edition of Your Daily Detroit, focusing on food and drink. If you've got places you think we should cover, someplace we should mention, if you own something interesting, dailydetroit@gmail.com. You know, we always want to open up our horizons. I think that's part of what I take away with some of that list here, right? Is the idea that maybe we need to open ourselves up a little bit to more places to take a look at, you know, and see if there's a favorite in your neighborhood we need to know about.
I concur.
Well, with that, I am Jer Stays.
And I'm Shianne Serini.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for supporting us at patreon.com/ Daily Detroit. With that, remember that you are somebody, and I'll see you around Detroit. Take care.